Well, hello friends, Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Blue Sports War. Without you guys, this literally does not work. Well, I'm back from work. I'm trying to bust a hump. We're building a deck, and we had to get the main beams set out there, so we got those main beams set out there, cemented in place because, hey, the place we're working, there is no signal out there, and it's driving me crazy being away from football and not being able to look at my phone and see what's going on and things, because I don't want to miss anything. Fortunately for the Cowboys, today is a day that's an off day. And as I was coming back, I shared some breaking news with the Washington football franchise. Burgundy and gold, man. What the hell is going on around here, man? I mean, dude, it just gets worse and worse. So, we know that the Washington franchise no longer has a name. And maybe they're not deserving of a name right now. We know that some of the minority owners had wanted to sell their stake. Then we heard that they were wanting Dan Snyder to sell his stake. What we had heard early on was more than likely after the first article came out from the Washington Post that it'll end up being a fine from the NFL for Dan Snyder and, a slap on the wrist and realize that he's trying to make changes for the team so they won't have situations like had happened currently. Okay, that was then. Now, we've got a little bit different story. Right now, what we're hearing is there's another article that came out by the Washington Post. Now, the thing that I want to say is, when you think about the Washington Post coming out with an article, when they came out with the first one, they had supposedly talked to like 25 employees and things. And to make sure that they don't get sued for slander, because when you're talking about the NFL, when you're talking about Dan Snyder, a person who's got a lot of money, then you want to make sure that you have the story 100% airtight, where there's nothing that can come back on you. That shoe dropped. And literally, the Washington football team let go of Larry Michaels, who was the voice of the station, for many, many years, as well as letting go some of the people in the front office. And the assumption is, well, this is where the problems are with those guys. We've made changes and so forth. Dan Snyder's in the clear. Well, the Washington Post, doing more research, has allegedly come up with 100 employees. 100 employees that have basically said, yes, it was a toxic environment that was going on. Quite frankly, I don't even feel comfortable saying some of the things that are actually in this article. But basically, employees were denigrated. It was a lot of misogyny going on. Basically, you had to be in fear of keeping your job. Basically, you're being told that, I got 1,000 people waiting for your job, so either you do what the hell I tell you to do, or you can get a step in. To the point where one of the agencies that was actually supplying new employees, the environment was so bad that they just refused to actually send people there to the Washington franchise. And now we're hearing that Dan Snyder was leading a lot of the stuff. Now, this is what's being said by the Washington Post. Don't come back at me. I'm just reporting what I'm hearing. But we're hearing things where Dan Snyder was definitely a hard person to work for. You're hearing things like, the toilet tissue in his bathroom had to be folded with that hotel triangle where you go to those uppity hotels and stuff. So that way when you pull it off, it's folded real nice. That his bar had to be stocked with, certain alcohol and things like that, which you can understand those things. Okay, that's just having a pain in the ass boss. But then when you start hearing about videotapes, unbeknownst to some of the cheerleaders, being filmed that are allegedly for Dan Snyder. Now, it was Larry Michaels who would tell the video staff to say, yeah, we need these videos because they're for Dan. Now, it could be that they were actually Larry Michaels wanted them and used Dan as the fall guy. So that's one of those questions that has to be answered. But if these things are true, things of basically trying to pimp out the cheerleaders, the NFL may have to step in to save the shield. The NFL does not want to have situations like this. Now, we know that sometimes things get swept underneath the rug, that happen, where owners have done some things that may have been unsavory, but, it's been taken care of. But this is getting to the point with the Washington football team that it's just sounding really, really bad. And this may be a step closer to Dan Snyder being forced to sell the team. Like I said, don't shoot the messenger. This is what's going on, or at least what's being reported to be going on. Listening to Sports Talk 980 with Brian Mitchell and them talking about this, they actually were taking phone calls, and listening to one person who said he's in law, was pointing out that right now you're only hearing the Washington Post come out with the story that unless it's not what you say, it's what you can prove. And there's still, of course, a question of what is proven. But when you have 100 people that are now coming out, not only coming out and saying, anonymous, they're coming out and putting their name to it. And when you hear that there are non-disclosure agreement settlements that are out there that the Washington franchise refuses to let go of, you got to think that there's some things that are going on in there that just don't seem good. I'm going to say this, and I know people are going to turn this the wrong way, but I grew up in the Washington, D.C. area. Never rooted for the Washington franchise. Never. So get that out your mind. Even back in the 80s when I went to high school with their defensive coordinators' kids, when they were good and winning Super Bowls, I was still a Dallas Cowboy fan. But I got to tell you, I miss the days when the Washington football team was really good. The reason being, and I miss when the Dallas Cowboys team was really good, because it was always the Cowboys and Redskins fighting for opportunities to go to the playoffs or go to Super Bowls. And to me, that's when football was really football. That was before free agency. That was back when Cowboy players were Cowboy players basically for life, and Washington players were basically Washington players for life. And they truly had passion for the game, that they literally hate each other. They weren't hired guns that, I'm at one team this year, I'll go to this team next year, and, I'll get paid someplace else, No, this was personal. This was incredible football. And there was more passion in the game. And I honestly miss when the Washington franchise was good. My cousin Daniel, diehard Redskin fan, Washington fan. And having that trash talking, of knowing that my team beats your team to go to the playoffs and the Super Bowl. You had that all off season. And I miss those days. I hope that the Washington franchise can get themselves together and straighten it out, because nobody should have to go to an environment and work through what we're hearing like this. It's just, nobody should have to be dealing with things like that. I hope that they can get themselves together and get themselves back on an even keel. So anyway, I'm happy to be back early today. I'm going to be doing some work here around the man cave and stuff as we get ready for the season. I got a lot to do. And I hope you guys like this different set that we have out here. I'm going to be trying to run wiring so that way come game day I can be out here with everybody and we can control everything that we have in the set and bring you hopefully the best coverage out there. I'm Mark Holmes, and well, you're almost up to date. I'll see you soon.